Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This video is basically going to be just a chit chat and kind of sharing what happened on Saturday, March 20. What is today's date? I don't even know. It's Sunday right now when I record this, but when you guys see this, it'll be Wednesday. Just sharing this unreal experience of learning how to make, really learning the craft of making niʻihau shell lei and earrings. Really, we made earrings, and I will of course show you the ones that I made. But hello, it was surreal, you guys. It was unreal. I take everything seriously, okay? But this, I was not expecting this at all. I obviously knew that it was a niʻihau shell craft or jewelry making class, and we had an idea of, we knew what we were going to make. A family member of this couple that we go to church with. It was really an honor and a privilege, because I've always loved and wondered at these shells. Okay, this is very rare and hard to find on the other 7 islands, I think. I don't know, because these are shells specifically found on the island of Niʻihau. I guess we're talking right here. It was such an amazing experience. I just soaked everything up. It was so hard for me to be on my phone. Even taking videos and taking pictures was a pain for me. And you guys know I love doing that kind of stuff. I know this is something I want to relive and I want to show my audience and I want to be able to share. But I really hate being on my phone right now, because it's a moment that I could be learning even more and practicing even more at this craft that I'm learning, that I never in my life dreamt I would ever, first of all, be able to own any type of niʻihau shell jewelry. On top of the fact, making one? Please. So if you want to hear about this experience, stick around. Oh, let me go get the earrings that I made. Y'all, I am still just like mind blown. I cannot believe that I had the honor of doing this. Let me shut up. I'm gonna get the jewelry. I'll be right back. Y'all, it's a little much over some shells and earrings. It's unreal. I'm just amazed at how Jesus works things out sometimes. The fact that I can pass these down to Havilah one day. Speaking of Havilah, let me just throw up these photos here of her. Look at that. That choker belonged to, I think it was Tiare. So our friends Tiare and Lokahi, her husband, and her husband is from niʻihau. Momi, our teacher, our kumu, but they're actually they live on kauʻi. She had brought over a few strands, and Tiare had a few strands herself and her husband, and so they all kind of brought out what they already had. And so we were able to find and compare, you know, what type of shells are we looking for, and then they described the different patterns to us. I told you I was going to show you guys. How many times did I never show you guys? Okay, so this, let me start with the small ones. I won't take credit for these because my niece Moani made them for me. I had asked her to because she was just going in with them, okay? She just got the bug and she started going for it. So the shells that create the petals, those are called laiki or lacy. And laiki, makaʻolelo Hawaii, means rice. And that's why they call them that, because it looks like rice. 2, 3, yeah, 5 for each side of the earring. And then in the very middle, you see that little dot there in the middle? It's actually red in color. Well, these are pink. Yeah, these are, well, one is more pink One is more of a faded pink, and then the other is a stronger red. Those are called kahelelani. Those are the ones, if you see strands upon strands, it's this little tiny pūpū. Look at the size of it. And yet look at the, I'll put pictures here. Look at the length of these lei. So if you ever wondered why these things cost thousands of dollars, that's why. It's a lot of work, okay? It's a lot of work. But let me tell you, the most rewarding. So these are the pua. I'm not sure if Anake gave these a specific name, like the specific stud styles. Okay, let me show you. Let me show you the other pair. These are my pride and joys, okay? And I'll tell you the mo'olelo behind these two. Look at them. Look at them. Aren't they stunning? So the style I was trying to go for these was an ombre. So if you notice towards the top and towards the bottom, they're darker. And then I tried my best to get faded momi shells so that they ombre'd and had some type of ombre style. I'm pretty proud of them. Let me quickly break down the style that I chose. So at the very top here, right closest to the hook, Anake Momi, she was the one who finished it off for me and applied the hook and threaded or sewed on the strand onto the hook. But at the very top, we have one on each side, kahelelani. And I wanted them to be the darker shade of kahelelani. I mean, they look black right now, but I know that they're just a deeper shade, like a burgundy red. And they range from burgundy red to almost light pink. So it really depends on what you find. And of course the style that you choose. The only reason why I chose just two was because of how hard these things are to ohiki. Ohiki, I hope that's the right word, but ohiki is the act of piercing the shell. Again, look at how small it is. Somehow, some way, this bugger is strong enough to have a hole pierced into it and be intact. Crazy, huh? If you think about it. I started off, I think to about here, that's about 10 shells already. It's layered on top of each other. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Anake Momi bought this big bag of sand from niʻihau. Sand. Try to find all of this and all of that sand. It's a task, okay? It's a task. But once you start training your eye, it got a little bit easier. So about to here, maybe like a third way, that's about 10 shells. I stopped there because what I wanted to do was, I saw that it wasn't long enough. I actually wanted it longer. And then poragi over here, I only get one ear pierced. This ear, not pierced. This ear when closed. So now I gotta go back clears and I gotta pierce this ear. Oh my gosh, I tell you. I wanted it actually like down here. But then when I saw how much work you had to put in to do this, Mommy brought a bag of one bag or a couple bags that were already prepped and already ready for us to go to make these earrings. She had them bagged and ready to go. But when she brought out the big bag of sand to look through and find shells, everybody just started trying to look for shells and make their own. And that's what I did, what I think my husband did, and Mwani did. We could have easily gotten through sewing earrings, a pair of earrings, with the shells that Anake Momi already prepped for us. But I don't know, I was just determined to find what shells I could find, poke the hole, ohiki, kind of start from the ground up. I don't know, I feel like it was a little bit more special that she gave us that opportunity to look through. It actually was a bonus for us because we got there. Here we go, we're starting from the beginning. We got there at 9 o'clock in the morning. We didn't plan on going early to start early. I just wanted to go early because I wanted to hang out with Tiare and her kids. But when we got there, they were already sitting up, made all this food, we cooked food, people bought stuff. So that's why we went early. But when Anake, I say Anake Momi as a way of a term of respect. So when she started to teach us and she brought out the bag of sand from niʻihau, girl. And that's when it started. Someone's joining us now. We just went head first. Was trying to find and look through to find Momi, trying to find kahelelani. I ended up finding one kahelelani in that big sing of sand. And that's it. And then you have the more rare colored shells, which I believe have specific names for them, but I don't remember. And then even the style that you choose to sew your earrings or your lei, that also has different names too. So if it's kind of jagged and crisscross, that style is called ohiki poi poi. And then the other style where they kind of lay on top of each other, that style is called pikake. And if I'm butchering this, kalamai. You guys can correct me in the comments. So those are the two styles that I recall learning. And the styles that these are in ohiki poi poi. Ohiki poi poi. And the difference is because of where you pierce the hole or where you make the puka in the shell. So if it's forward, I believe that way is pikake. If it's on the side of the shell, I believe that's ohiki poi poi. If I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, then it's the opposite. I kind of started all over the place because I was so excited. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. I was just trying to find pūpū. But slowly as time went on, Anake started bringing out bags of different pūpū that she had brought with her that were of different styles. Some of them were already had puka in them. She prepped them, the ones that I mentioned before that we were originally supposed to do. But then she brought out a big bag of sand and everybody was like crazy. She just had this huge variety of pūpū in all of these small Ziploc bags like this. This is what they were in. Just a bunch of different styles, different colors. There were even some, the kahelelani, the green. Oh, and they weren't green, I mean, like this. But if you shined a light on the shell, it had a tint of green. And you could so clearly tell it almost looked like a yellow green. Anyway, so the process is you find your shell. Now, looking back, what I wish I would have done, I would have made a decision on what I was going to do. But, you know, I was really determined to find my own, puka my own, sew my own, etc., etc. Of course, with Anake's help, right? I was asking her questions every 5 minutes. How do you do this? How do you do that? I was probably the most annoying one there. Kalamai Anake. But, you know, you don't know unless you ask. Back to what I said about what I wish I would have done differently. I wish I would have chosen what I was going to do. I also wish I had counted how much shell I was going to need, how many pūpū I was going to need for the length that I wanted. But then, of course, at the time, I didn't realize how much effort I was going to have to put in for the shells that I was trying to find on my own and prep and make puka in on my own. That's a lot of work, okay? And that changes the equation a lot. Because if I had used a bit of what Anake had brought that was already prepared, I probably could have gotten the length that I really wanted. And I wish I would have made the point of counting the shells because you can count them. You have to turn the piece from side to side to really make sure that you're getting every shell. I think that is really only for the momi shell. The kahelelani is a little bit harder to count, right? Because they're smaller and they're more in clusters. But again, that depends on the lawana, the type of pattern that you use. I know you can make them just single, but back to what I originally wanted. I wanted it longer. And then I wanted kahelelani clustered in the middle and then continue on with the momi. But then I found out how hard it is to puka those kahelelani shells. And that's why I gave up. That's why I gave up because I was very afraid to poke my finger. Okay, that's another thing. I was afraid to poke my finger trying to puka the momi. And the momi is significantly bigger than the kahelelani. But the tool that Momi had us use was, and I found out this by my husband on the way home, it's actually a guava branch. I didn't even take a picture of it. It was the long screw that you use to put into those handheld screwdrivers, drills. And that was in the middle. I don't know. It seemed like it was growing out of the branch. Of course it wasn't. But the way that they had made it, it's like directly in the middle, shooting out of the guava branch. It was like it was the size of a spoon, like this, of course, but it had the sharp edge, the very sharp, pointy edge, but they cut it to where it was just a sharp point. I mean, that thing was sharp. But that's the size that you needed, the right perfect handheld size to puka these shells. And only had 2. So we had to go in between each other. There was a pretty good group of us that were trying to puka these shells. Almost everybody tried their best to start from scratch, find their own shell and puka their own shell. But then when everybody got a taste of how hard it was, kind of resorted back to using the shells that Anake had prepped for us in advance. which I wish I did. I didn't use any of the ones that she prepped in advance. I should have. I should have. And that's why I said I would have gotten the length that I wanted. But before I found out, or maybe should I say, after I found out how hard it was to pierce the kahelelani shell, I gave up. And that took me a while too, because I was pretty determined to get that kahelelani cluster in the middle. And I was just waiting for either anake momi, one of them, to puka the shell for me. But they were helping other people, and I thought, you know what, Kabul, stick to what you're gonna do. But in that trying to wait for somebody, one of them to help me puka the kahelelani, in between trying to focus and have patience, I gotta have patience for this, and I gotta have patience for these. It had been some time before I made the decision to just 86 the kahelelani and keep going with the momi, or string the momi shells that I had already picked out. So that was the frustrating part. If I hadn't done that, if I had just stuck to my original plan, guarantee I could have made another pair. Guarantee. Because I had gotten a momentum. I got a really good momentum going. I got a hold of that male ohiki, the male kuʻi, with the momi, not the kahelelani. Got a nick for it, and I just started peek and peek and peek. Some of them broke. There was a couple of the caramel, the more rare pūpū shell. There was a couple that I had found in a group that I was really wanting to use towards the top, because I had already done the bottoms. I had already found those bottom ones earlier, because that's how you work. You work from the bottom up. But when I found another 2 pair of those rare caramel colored shells, I cracked one. And I was pissed because it matched the ones on the bottom that I used. Yeah, I had to try and scrounge around and find another one similar. So I did, but the one that I cracked was really, really pretty. So it's okay. It hurt. It hurt a lot. You gotta have a lot of patience. If you didn't already know that, now you know. So measuring the length that I wanted, finding out how many shells I needed, and then laying them out each pair. So this is only in reference to making earrings. You're gonna lay them out side by side. And because each side takes 2 each from the bottom up, depending on how long you want them, you gotta go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then all the way to however much you want. And then the other side, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you should have, I think this one took 24, and then the other side 24. If you're gonna make a pattern, you gotta figure out that pattern and figure it out fast so that you're not wasting time. And then when you have the pattern, then you lay it out, like I said earlier, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And the reason why you wanna do that is so that you have it in place, and it makes it 1,000 times easier for you to kuʻi and to sew your earrings. Make sure that you're following the pattern for each side. You have it organized and you have it laid out in front of you so you can clearly see, okay, you gotta do 2 here, I gotta do these 2. Oh, I did 2 extra here, I gotta do 2 extra here. So that you keep the pattern and they're not looking lopsided. But again, if you're just gonna do the plain white, it's easy that way. You don't really need to put that much effort into keeping a pattern, because it's not a pattern, you're just doing the regular white, right? So once you do that, then you get your collar. You have your string measured out, you bend it in half. So you got 2 strings, fold it in half. So how many ends you gonna have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 strings, fold it in half. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And then you're gonna hold them like this. You hold your finger like this because you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason why she showed me that initially was because it helps you keep the pattern of your earrings. But then later, you can actually just do one at a time, which is why laying out your pattern and laying them out initially helps, so that you can see, okay, this is what I'm gonna follow, because this is what I did with one side, this is what I'm gonna do with the other. Make sense? Poking it through, sewing it on, there's a certain way that you gotta hold the shell. You gotta put it through the hole that you made, and then put it through the hole that actually is on the butt end of the shell. Oh, I forgot to mention that you gotta use a nail clipper. What you use the nail clipper for, you have to cut the part where the momi kind of comes to a point, because that's where your other hole is going to be. There's going to be 2 holes. There's going to be the one that you cut with a nail clipper so that you can stick the ohiki in, and then make that other hole where the shell will come out of. And that's what you use the nail clipper for the momi. You got to clip that sharp edge off that comes to a point, and then the shell kind of rounds out, and then it comes to another softer point. You gotta clip that cone part because that's where you're gonna string it through. That's part of the prepping, okay? The nail clipping, and then you're gonna ohiki with the kuʻi, and you gotta make a tiny, tiny hole, and then I'm just trying to get every ounce of information that I have in my brain. And I knew I wanted to share this because it's still fresh in my mind just from yesterday, and I'll be sharing pictures throughout. Oh, and then the sewing part. Let's just say we start with one side, one earring. That's going to be one string, but you can have two ends because you have to fold it in half. Start with the bottom two. You're going to go through the hole that you made with the pointy part of the ohiki, and then you're going to go through the part where you use the nail clipper. And you're going to do that for the whole strand. Again, this is just for this earring. This is just for the earring style. I don't even want to say for any other style but this style that I made. I'm not going to hold you over my cup of coffee. Because even making necklaces and bracelets, there's so many different kaila, there's so many different lawana, but specifically for this lawana that I did, this is what I was taught to do, and this is the pattern. This is the method that I used to make this. So I'm just explaining it from how I made this and not any other way. Okay, it could be applied to other ways and other styles or other pieces of jewelry, but I don't want to be disrespectful or say that it's a certain way. Not at all. This is just the way that I made these. There's two different ways that I was shown what I could do. I think the first way I did it, I tied a knot every two. So you're gonna go your left side, and then you're gonna go right side, and then you're gonna make a knot, pull, and then tighten. And you wanna make sure that the pūpū lay nicely, and it's gonna be right. They should be essentially like this, facing down. And then that way you get the ohiki poi poi pattern. And then you do your next two, and then you tie, and then you do your next two, and then you tie. I think I did it that way for one side. The other side, putting all of the pūpū on, I would advise going left and right, left and right, left and right. Not all left and then all right. I would probably get confused doing it that way, but that's just the way I did it. Left, right. That's the way Anake showed us to do it, and that's how we did it. So left, right, and then release, and then go. And then left, right, release, and then go. And then what you do is you make like a slip knot. So slip knot on the left side string, and then slip knot on the right side string. And the reason for the slip knot is to prevent the shells from falling off. So slip knot on the left, slip knot on the right. You're gonna split the shells that you put on the left side string on the left, and the right side shell on the right side of the string to the right. You following me here, guys? I'm just trying to relive this. I'm trying to relive these moments that I had learning all of this. And then from there, you want to grab the two in the middle. You bring those two in the middle, and then you're going to grab the end or the parts of the string that are open, I guess, because you have the rest of the shells hanging and not falling off because of the slip knots. And you grab those strings, and then you tie. Essentially like how you do if you did it the first way I told you, where you only put one or two shells at a time, and then you tie, and then you string on the next two, and then you tie. This way you already have all the shells on your string, and you just tie, and then bring the next two. Make sure that they sit nicely, make sure that they lay nicely, and then you tie. And you adjust and fix, grab the next two, tie, until you get to the end. And that's how you get this. Ta-da! Isn't that cool, guys? Isn't that cool? Now, the kahelelani that I mentioned I have at the very top, I asked Anake to do that because I watched her do it. She threaded the string through, and then because it's at the top by the hook, she threaded the string around the hook and then back through the kahelelani shell. Yeah. And she did it so fast. I mean, she's like, sometimes it's hard. Anake was like, shoot, in. I'm like, yeah, it would be for me. That's why I'm asking you to do it. But she threaded it through and around the hook part, and then back through the kahelelani, the same kahelelani shell that she already had the string through already. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. The craftsmanship is wild. And then she finished it off for me, and she put like a little bit of tuko. It was just hardcore toxic tuko, but man, the thing is for real. I wish I had taken picture of all of these things, man. I never take picture of the ohiki. I never take picture of the glue. Or maybe I did take a picture of the glue, but what an experience, you guys. What an experience. I'm so grateful to have been a part of it. I will relive this, and I will relive it through this video every time I watch it. So thankful to Ohana Kanahele and them hosting it at their house. All their keiki and cooking for us and our hui. And I appreciate how much Holy Spirit appreciates how much it means to us to be a part of the culture that he's put us in. And I believe that there is so much purpose in the crafts and the language and the type of people that we are as Kanaka Hawaii. At the center of it, you guys, is Jesus. It's the kingdom. And it's not that we praise and we worship these things. For me, it's the reality of knowing that I am fully alive when I know that at the center of all of these of this activity that we did, of all of that we learned from momi, Jesus is at the center. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. I think that's pretty much all that I gotta share. I think I got it all out. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but whether or not some may think I'm going a little overboard because of shells and because of earrings, knowing that this is part of what he created me for, was to experience joy like this in the most simplest thing to some. It ain't simple making it, but to the outside, seeing it, it is simple and it's probably insignificant, but to find so much joy in it and so much honor and so much respect and so much reverence for who God has created us to be as Kanaka Hawaii and having stewardship over things as simple as shells. There's significance in that. So that's all, friends. I don't know what else more I can share. If you have any questions, I don't know. If you have any questions about anything, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I'm just trying to make sure I get every little thing that I want out into this video. But I pretty much just explained the whole process. Also, very, very proud of my niece. Maybe I'll close with that. I'm very proud of her because for her age and for the type of hustle that I saw her with pūpū, she was going for it. And she ended up, she went puka how many kahelelani shells for her earrings. I gotta ask her to take a picture of all of it. And then momi ended up blessing her with these kula pepeau that were made of resin. They were like rectangle squares. And she had kahelelani shells and different niʻihau shells in the resin earrings. They're beautiful. And then she made the pair for herself, which was the all white momi with kahelelani clusters on the bottom. And then she made one for her mom. So she went home with three or four pairs. So she worked really hard. I mean, from the moment we got there to the moment we left, she was the last one standing, actually. She was the last one making a pair of earrings. But I'm so proud of her. I'm glad that she was able to be a part of it and to partake in this amazing experience. And I really hope that we get the chance to do this again. Okay, I'm done swooning over these. Thanks, guys. Thanks for just hearing my experience. I'll make sure to vlog when I get this side pierced. Then I can put both sides in for you guys. But until then, I hope you enjoyed. And thank you, Lord. And I love you. And I'm grateful for you. Maybe next time I can vlog. I don't know. No promises, okay? It was so difficult for me to even take pictures because I just was like, why am I taking a picture? I could be cleaning a shell right now. I could be looking for more kahelelani. I could be looking for more momi. And I'm over here taking pictures. Absolutely not. Once I got a little bit of a, momentum going, I was like, okay, I guess so. Here, I ended up putting together a reel. So by the time you see this, it should be up. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It will be up already. Follow me on Instagram at kapuakoheana. Before you leave this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm blessed to have you here, my friend, and watching. So I hope you were blessed watching this, or sort of listening to me yap on about pūpū and niʻihau. Mahalo nui ke hui ana. Mahalo ho I ka ohana kanahele, momi, tiare, lokahi, kauʻi, ko ohana holo okoa. Mahalo nui. Yesu pū. I love you, folks. I'll see you on the next video. We hope.